Well, obviously we're looking forward to getting back out there. We were really disappointed with our performance levels against Nashville, and I've got to take some responsibility for that. Looking forward to a game against Galaxy, against a brilliant team, a really, really good manager. I love the way his teams play, and looking back at the games last year, these two games that we played against them, I thought were some of the best games that both teams, in terms of a spectacle. 3-2 away, 4-2 at home. I watched the games the other day, and there were two teams that played really good football, that went for it, that had really talented players on the field, and we hope that Sunday is going to be another one of those games. I think this fixture has always. I think it's always got goals. Somebody told me the day, and I can only speak for the games last year. 5 in the first game, 6 in the second game, which means that two teams with similar philosophies and talented players on both sides. And I'd say we're probably both missing talented players, but there's still enough quality to have an outstanding game of football. And I think it will be on Sunday against a really good team.
So we've been watching training. We've seen Juan training on the side, and we kind of know Jonathan Rodriguez's status as well. But can you give an update on Juan and some of the other injuries potentially for Sunday?
Yeah, Juan's still out for another probably 3 or 4 weeks. So we're building him back up slowly. He's had a long time out. It's been a slow process. Jonathan, again, there's no news on Jonathan really. Santi Moreno came through the 45 minutes pretty good. He's still in the building phase. He's not trained. He's only trained for 10 days, so I think whether he'll start or not, I don't know. It's going to be a decision probably at the end of the week. He's a fit boy, but you've got to think the bigger picture. You've got to think the long term of the whole season. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So apart from that, I think everybody else is okay. I think we've had a good week's training.
I want to touch on something from the Nashville game, particularly in a couple of the chances you guys conceded in the first half, one of which turned into the goal, where the defenders it seemed like they were more reacting rather than anticipating what Nashville was going to do. So this comes in 2 parts. So as a player, having played as a fullback, what allows you to start anticipating instead of reacting to situations? And as a coach, how can you coach your players to think more and anticipate instead of reacting?
Well, I think as a player and as a coach, I think it's repetition. It's playing with consistency in your back three. It's knowing people's strengths and weaknesses. It's smelling danger. It's preparing them to show them the strengths and movements of the opposition, and also implementing that once you cross the white line. I think the chances that we conceded last week and the goals that we conceded were disappointing. In terms of the first goal, I thought James could have done better on the first goal in particular, and on the second goal it was a cross and we didn't stay with the run. So we knew that, and so it's about learning from your mistakes. We had a young team out last week. And that's where I have to take responsibility in terms of, away games in the MLS are very difficult, and at the end of the day, I think I've maybe picked the wrong team in terms of the balance between experience and young. But I think what I would say is, because I believe so much in these young players, I really do, and when you're a young player, there's only one way to learn, and that's to play. You can't learn by sat on the side, but I think probably in the first away game in the season, I needed to get the balance right between the youth and experience in the team. So I think that's where I reflected on it from a personal point of view. In terms of the reaction and of our defenders, it's a smell, it's an understanding, it's a recognition that away from home you're going to have to stay with runners, block shots, deal with long balls like the 2 penalty incidents, and I didn't think we were that great at it last week against Nashville.
You're talking a lot about having the young players need to grow up quickly. How does a 21, 22-year-old like a Finn Sermon or a Kevin Kelsey approach a game differently than a veteran like a Felipe Mora or a Dario Suparic?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely approach it in totally a different way. I think when you're a young player, you you haven't experienced what Diego Chara has experienced on the road, or what it takes to win on the road, what it takes to it's the nuances of professional football, about the maybe taking your time on throw-ins, managing the game a little bit more, managing your time on the road a little bit more. It's not just on the pitch, it's off the pitch as well. And it's knowing in certain circumstances, particularly, we got away with so much in that first half that actually going in at 0-0 at half time, I think would have been a real positive for us, and then conceding just before half time, that for me was the inexperience in the team. Is that sometimes you've just got to clear the ball, you've just got to manage the game, you've got to take your time on certain situations, and that's where I felt we lacked experience in the first half, and that to be honest with you is on me. But what I would say is I believe a lot in these players, and the only way you get to learn about game management is sometimes by being burnt. And that's when you think about experience, what does experience tell you is that when you are going into a situation, because of your experience, you've been in that situation before and you understand what's going to come. You have 2 or 3 experiences where you've had success, you've failed, or whatever. So it prepares you for those moments. And when you've not had that, you're totally blind to that situation. So I think I'm a big believer, because what happened to me when I was younger is that I was thrown in at the deep end, and I would say sink or swim. And when I sunk, I learnt, and when I sunk again, I learnt even more. And then eventually you end up treading water. You then take your armbands off, and then all of a sudden you're doing full length breaststroke. You know what I mean? And so you only learn by getting on that bike and getting out there, and we've got to trust these young players.
LA Galaxy are without some of their top attackers on Sunday, but one that will still likely be in there is Gabriel Peck. I think a matchup maybe coaches, media, and fans definitely are looking forward to is Jimmer Forey versus Peck. Yeah. As a former fullback yourself, what is the right way to face off against a winger like that?
Well, I think when you're playing against the top DPs in this league, concentration is vital. You cannot switch off for a split second. I think because they only need a split second in a game with the quality that they've got to produce a moment of magic. And I think what you're probably seeing with LA Galaxy at this moment in time, different than what we probably faced last year, was last year we had 3 or 4. You had Royce into that. You had 3 or 4 world-class players. 3 or 4 DP level players that if you plug one, the other 3 was still needed plugging. Obviously, with Peck, he's one of the best DPs in the league, and I think he plays a large part in them having success. So we're going to have to be really good against him. I see him play an awful lot, and even when he's not getting the ball or he's not getting much joy, there's still that split second when he turns defence into attack that he can be a special player for them, and that's why they've had success. That's why they've had success, because of those 3 or 4 players.
With some of the injuries you guys have had coming into the season in the attack, I'm just interested in, through the first 3 games, how you feel your team has performed in the attack, knowing you haven't scored a ton of goals, but what has led, in your eyes, watching film, watching the games, to the maybe lack of opportunities the team has had in the attack?
Well, I think the attacking part of our play has probably been our most disappointing in terms of chance created, and I say that in terms of we've got 2 centre forwards that have not really had a chance on goal. I think Kevin had a header in the second half against Austin, and Pipe had a chance in the first half against Austin. Apart from that, they've not really had a chance on goal. And you think about the number of chances that we created last year, so that's something that we're addressing. Yes, we've took goals out of our team. We can't hide away from that fact. There's no Jonathan Rodriguez. Obviously, the goals that have underscored as well. We've took nearly, 36, 40 goals out of our team. So I always knew it was going to be a little bit different. And then you add in the fact that we've not had a lot of our attacking players. Santi Mosquera, who's a big chance creator. Jonathan Rodriguez, who's a scorer and a creator. It's been difficult to create chances, and we've probably concentrated a lot on set plays and counter-attack moments. But now we're getting players back that we need now to commit more men forward, to get into better opportunities, better areas to provide passes, crosses, assists for Pipe and Kevin Kelsey, because at this moment in time we're not providing anything for them, and they're frustrated, but we understand their frustration because we need to do better for them.
Phil, two in Spanish, please. La situación de Jonathan, Juan y Santi, que son diferentes.
Sí.
¿Cómo están los tres? ¿Cuál es la situación de cada uno?
Sí, los tres, Juan Mosquera, sí. Juan Mosquera, Santi y Jonathan Rodríguez son futbolistas muy diferentes en tema de estilo. Santi, muy técnico, tiene la pelota, le gusta la pelota, juega en los espacios difíciles para los defensas. Jonathan es para mí muy directo, no toca la pelota mucho, pero en el tercera área es muy es como un ganador. Él sabe cuándo llegar en el área en el momento perfecto. Juan es un extremo, un lateral que entiende esta posición perfectamente. Cuando Santi llega más dentro en el campo, Juan tiene en la línea por la banda, y los dos tienen una conexión muy especial para nosotros. Es como una, en Inglaterra, como se dice, telepathy.
Sí, telepatía es una sociedad, decimos.
Sí, cuando ellos saben dónde saben. Entonces es una posición, el 7, el 2, donde en este momento sufrimos mucho.
En la parte médica, en la recuperación, ¿cómo están los tres de sus lesiones?
Santi está bien, es entrenar 10 días con el equipo, jugó 45 minutos contra Nashville, entonces es en buena forma, pero hace 3 meses sin un partido, sin entrenamientos, entonces ahora tenemos que crear paso a paso, poco a poco. Juan Mosquera tuvo problemas con su rodilla, entonces ahora tenemos que necesitar paciencia con él, porque él volvió demasiado pronto, antes del partido contra Vancouver, y ahora tenemos que toca más paciencia para cuidarlo, y en 2-3 semanas él ojalá estés en el momento para volver. Jonathan Rodríguez en este momento no lo sé.
Ya. La última, queda un mes largo para el cierre de la ventana de transferencias.
Sí.
Todavía hay posibilidad de recibir a alguien, y todavía hay rumores afuera de gente que se va.
Sí, en este momento buscamos cada día para mejorar nuestra plantilla, es la verdad. Yo creo que necesitamos 2 jugadores para completar nuestra plantilla. La verdad es, en la pretemporada tuvimos momentos buenos con Fori, con Ortiz, con Kelsey, con Lassiter. Buenos jugadores que necesitamos fortalecer nuestro equipo. Pero para mí, un entrenador, yo creo que 1 o 2 más para mejorarnos.
¿Salida de alguno?
No lo sé. No necesitamos vender un jugador para comprarlo.
Gracias, Phil.